Captain Aaron stood on the observation deck of the human starship Endeavor, staring at the swirling colors of Zithra below. The planet was unlike anything he had ever seen. Its skies shimmered with violet clouds, and rivers of what appeared to be liquid crystal twisted across emerald forests. The cities, visible from orbit, were built in patterns that seemed almost impossible: floating platforms, towers spiraling into the clouds, and structures that glowed softly from within. The humans had arrived on Zithra for the first time, representing humanity in a diplomatic mission to one of the galaxy's oldest civilizations. Aaron's suit of armor, a sleek, reinforced design humans had been developing for decades, hugged his frame. Its metallic surface reflected the soft glow of Zithra's skies, and faint lines of circuitry traced along its surface. The armor was functional, designed for protection, communication, and survival in alien environments. But more than that, it had become a symbol of human exploration and resilience. To the people of Earth, it was simply technology. To the aliens awaiting their arrival, it was something else entirely. As the ship descended through the atmosphere, Aaron's crew prepared for first contact. Dr. Leora Kane, the mission's cultural liaison, checked her translator devices one last time. "Captain, the landing site is ready," she said, her voice tinged with excitement. "Zithurian officials will meet us there." The humans stepped out cautiously. The air was breathable, but it carried a faint metallic scent, and the gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth's. Before them, a grand procession of Zithurians approached. They were tall, elegant beings with translucent skin that shimmered in shades of blue and green. Their eyes were large, reflective, and intelligent, giving the impression that they could see more than just the physical world. At the center of the procession stood the Queen herself. Queen Lysara's presence was commanding without being threatening. Her robes flowed like liquid silk, and delicate ornaments traced along her shoulders and arms. When her gaze fell on Aaron, it lingered, sharp and curious. Aaron instinctively straightened his posture. "This is Captain Aaron of the human vessel Endeavor," announced one of the translators, voice echoing across the platform. "They come in peace." She studied every detail: the curves, the material, the faint hum of energy from the suit's internal systems. Then quietly she spoke to her advisors in a language the humans could not understand. One of them, turning slightly, whispered back, "It is as we feared, and as we hoped. This armor belongs to a legend." Was this a compliment, a warning, or a recognition of something he did not yet understand? Leora stepped beside him, sensing his confusion. "Captain, I think you've just entered history," she said softly. "Apparently, something about your armor matches an old Zithurian legend." Her expression was unreadable, but there was a faint glimmer of acknowledgement in her eyes. "You may proceed," she said in perfect Galactic standard, the official trade language. "We will observe and then speak." Aaron kept his movements steady, aware that every step, every gesture was being observed. He sensed curiosity, caution, and something else in the air, a feeling that history itself was watching them. Inside the palace, the walls shimmered as though alive. Holographic projections of Zithurian history floated in midair, depicting events spanning millennia. Wars, discoveries, cultural achievements, all recorded with meticulous detail. The humans could see images of warriors wearing armor, strikingly similar to Aaron's, standing side by side with heroes whose names had been long forgotten by time. Aaron's heart beat faster. Could it be that humans were connected to this civilization in ways no one had realized? He thought of the countless legends, myths, and stories told across human history. Could one of them truly echo in the far reaches of another galaxy? The Queen gestured for the humans to sit. Leora and the other crew members took their seats cautiously, while Aaron remained standing. "Captain Aaron," the Queen said, her voice calm and melodic, "your arrival has been foreseen in our oldest texts. A warrior from beyond the stars, bearing armor unlike any of our own, was predicted to come. Many doubted the prophecy, but your appearance cannot be ignored. Legends are not always about greatness in battle," she said. "They are about courage, wisdom, and the courage to act when others hesitate. You wear armor similar to that of the Starborn Guardian, a figure who changed the course of our history long ago. If the prophecy is true, you are more than you know." Aaron felt a mix of pride, confusion, and responsibility. The notion that humanity, a relatively young species, might play a part in a civilization that had endured for millennia was both thrilling and terrifying. One of the Queen's advisors spoke up, his voice measured. "Your people are unfamiliar with Zithurian ways." It is only fair that you understand our customs before any decisions are made. You will walk the paths of our ancestors and understand what it means to wear armor such as yours, not just as protection, but as a symbol of duty and honor. They passed libraries where the texts floated in midair, gardens where plants shimmered in patterns of light, and training arenas where Zithurian warriors practiced techniques that seemed impossible to mimic. Throughout it all, Aaron's armor drew attention. Even the youngest apprentices whispered among themselves, pointing at him in awe. At one point, the queen stopped before a massive mural. It depicted a hero in armor striking a stance remarkably similar to Aaron's own. The figure was surrounded by creatures and challenges, yet it stood resolute, calm, and commanding. The queen turned to Aaron. This was the Starborn Guardian. Centuries ago, this warrior defended our people when all hope seemed lost. And now, it seems, the spirit of that legend has returned. If the queen believes the prophecy, humanity may have a role far beyond diplomacy. But we must tread carefully. Misunderstandings could lead to disaster. The queen led them to a balcony overlooking the lake. The twin suns were beginning to set, casting long shadows across the crystalline waters. The view was breathtaking. The humans stood in silence, absorbing the beauty and scale of the world before them. "This is your first lesson," the queen said. "The world you see is only a part of what Zithra represents. To understand our people, to earn our trust, you must walk with respect, observe with care, and act with honor. If you succeed, the path before you will open. If you fail—" Her voice trailed off, leaving the humans with the weight of unspoken consequence. Aaron straightened, feeling the hum of his armor beneath him. Whatever lay ahead, he knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had arrived in a galaxy full of wonders, mysteries, and challenges. And somehow, his armor, once a tool of survival, had become a symbol of possibility, connecting him to a legend older than Earth itself. As the suns dipped below the horizon, casting purple and gold across the sky, Aaron made a silent promise. He would do everything he could to honor the trust placed in him. Not just for himself, not just for humanity, but for the countless lives that depended on courage, wisdom, and the ability to rise to the occasion when history demanded it. The queen's words echoed in his mind as he looked out at the shimmering waters. This armor belongs to a legend. Perhaps, Aaron thought, legends are not born, they are discovered. And humanity's story had just begun on Zithra. The next morning, Zithra's twin suns rose over the floating city, casting long reflections across the crystalline lakes. Captain Aaron and his crew awoke to the soft hum of the palace, a gentle vibration that seemed to resonate with the world itself. The air was filled with subtle light currents that shifted as if alive, brushing against the human's skin in a way that felt both foreign and comforting. Queen Lysara had summoned them for a tour of Zithuria's most revered institutions. She walked with a quiet grace, her robes trailing behind her, reflecting hints of sunlight. Aaron followed closely, his armor moving with a soft mechanical hum. Everywhere they went, Zithurians paused to observe him. Whispers followed their passage, soft and reverent, though the humans could not understand the language. Leora translated what she could, explaining that the whispers were not of fear, but of curiosity and awe. Their first stop was the Hall of Knowledge, a vast library suspended over the lake, where thousands of floating text crystals rotated gently in midair. Each crystal contained the history of Zithuria, from the earliest days when the first colonies were formed on the floating platforms, to the wars and discoveries that shaped their culture. Scholars floated among the texts, reading and recording with delicate instruments. Aaron felt a strange familiarity as he walked through the hall. Some of the armor designs etched into the historical records resembled his own. Though centuries old, the designs shared the same structural lines, the same purposeful elegance, the same combination of protection and flexibility. The queen noticed his gaze and smiled faintly. "You see," she said, her voice soft and melodic, "our history has long awaited a warrior such as you. The Starborn Guardian was not just a fighter. He or she was a symbol of what it means to rise above fear, to act with intelligence and honor when others hesitate. Your armor carries echoes of that legend." "I am no guardian," he replied honestly. "I am a human, tasked only with observing and learning. I do not know if I am worthy of such honor." Here, Zithurian warriors practiced techniques that combined agility, strategy, and technology in ways the humans had never seen. Platforms hovered in midair, shifting with each movement. Energy ribbons traced the paths of the combatants, illuminating the flow of their attacks and defenses. Aaron observed quietly, noting patterns, techniques, and timing. Even if humans could never replicate the physical abilities of Zithurians, he realized there was much to learn from their approach to discipline, focus, and teamwork. Leora whispered, "Captain, they value intelligence and creativity as much as strength. That may be how we fit into this world." Their expressions were skeptical, bordering on disapproval. One of them, a tall female named Valera, crossed her arms and studied Aaron with narrowed eyes. "Is this human truly the Starborn Guardian?" she asked, her voice carrying just enough translation for the humans to hear. "I am not a guardian," Aaron repeated calmly. "I am an envoy. My purpose is to learn and represent my people." It will allow him to demonstrate his worth not by speculation, but through deeds. Aaron's mind raced. "What must I do?" he asked. "First," the Queen said, "you must understand that the trial is not about strength alone. It is about perception, judgment, and the ability to act under pressure. You will face situations where the correct choice is not obvious, where the easy answer may lead to failure, and where cooperation is as important as individual skill." The room contained simulations of ancient Zithurian environments, dense forests with shifting holographic foliage, labyrinthine corridors filled with puzzles, and mechanical constructs that mimicked living creatures. As Aaron examined the hall, Leora placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Captain, remember, humans think differently. We are innovative, resourceful, and adaptable. That may give you an advantage the Zithurians cannot anticipate." Aaron entered the arena alone, greeted by the silent gaze of the Queen and the assembly of nobles. The first challenge was simple in appearance, a path over a chasm where platforms hovered and shifted unpredictably. Many Zithurians relied on brute strength and agility to leap across. Aaron studied the timing and structure. Using calculated steps and precise movement, he crossed with balance and minimal effort, earning a nod from Lysara. The second challenge tested moral judgment. Aaron encountered two Zithurian apprentices trapped in a simulated danger. He could choose to save one quickly, sacrificing the other, or attempt a more complex solution that would save both but require ingenuity and risk. He analyzed the environment, using tools at his disposal to stabilize the hazard and rescue both apprentices. The observers murmured in surprise. Humans rarely approached problems this way, combining caution with creativity. The trial continued with puzzles that required lateral thinking. Aaron used his human perspective to see patterns others overlooked. At one point, he was faced with a machine that would lock the next chamber unless a sequence of symbols was arranged correctly. While Zithurians attempted trial and error, Aaron noticed the subtle patterns embedded in the room's design, arranging the symbols intuitively. The chamber opened, and even the Queen appeared impressed. Not all went smoothly. A rival noble, intrigued and perhaps threatened by the human's success, attempted subtle interference. Energy constructs shifted unpredictably, and Aaron narrowly avoided falling into a simulated trap. Using quick thinking, he adapted his approach and continued. His armor, designed for survival, absorbed impacts and monitored environmental hazards, giving him both protection and feedback. By the end of the day, Aaron had completed the majority of the trial, demonstrating courage, intelligence, and adaptability. He had not relied on physical prowess alone, nor on intimidation. His actions reflected careful observation, creative solutions, and ethical choices. The assembly of nobles watched in a mixture of astonishment and respect. Queen Lysara approached him as the sun began to set, casting violet and gold across the arena. "Captain Aaron," she said, "you have performed admirably. The trial is not yet complete, but your approach honors the spirit of the Starborn Guardian. You have proven that wisdom and courage often outweigh sheer strength. I only hope to represent humanity well. Your ingenuity is what sets humans apart. You've shown them we are more than explorers. We are problem solvers, thinkers, and creators." The water shimmered with reflections of the twin moons rising in the sky. Conversation flowed, though much was formal and ceremonial, yet there was warmth and curiosity in the Queen's questions. She asked about Earth, its history, its achievements, and its struggles. Aaron and Leora shared cautiously, aware that diplomacy required honesty tempered with discretion. "You humans are young," Lysara observed. "Your history is brief, yet full of remarkable resilience. You have survived challenges that would have undone older civilizations. Perhaps that is why the prophecy spoke of a warrior from your world. You carry potential beyond what your own people realize." This was recognition, a reminder that the choices he made now could shape the future, not just of his mission, but of the relationship between humanity and Zithra. As the evening ended, Aaron returned to his quarters, exhausted but alert. He removed his helmet, feeling the cool air against his skin. The armor, while protective, was more than metal and circuits. It had become a symbol, one that connected him to a history he was only beginning to understand. He looked out the window at the city below, glowing softly in the moonlight. Tomorrow, the trial would continue, and with it, new challenges, new puzzles, and perhaps new revelations. He did not know what awaited him, but he knew this. Humans had arrived on Zithra not merely as visitors, but as potential partners in a story that stretched across centuries. And he would face whatever came next with courage, intelligence, and the determination that had brought humanity to the stars. As he drifted toward sleep, Aaron's last thought was of the Queen's words echoing in his mind. "Your armor belongs to a legend." Perhaps legends were not just tales of the past, he thought, but invitations to shape the future. And humanity was ready to answer that call. The next morning, the skies of Zithra shimmered with a soft golden light as Captain Aaron prepared to continue the trial of valor. The first two challenges had tested his perception, intelligence, and ethical judgment. Today, the trial would demand more tests of creativity under pressure, teamwork, and the courage to make choices when the right path was not clear. Aaron adjusted the plating on his armor, feeling the faint hum of its internal systems. Every sensor, every circuit had been designed to enhance awareness, and now it would prove useful. Leora and the rest of the human crew watched from a safe observation deck, anxious but proud. Queen Lysara appeared at the entrance to the arena, her presence commanding attention. "Captain Aaron," she said, her voice carrying across the expansive chamber, "today you will face challenges designed to reveal your spirit, your courage, and your capacity to inspire others. You may find that your humanity is both an advantage and a test." A narrow bridge stretched across a chasm, but the bridge was unstable, shifting unpredictably. Across the gap, a Zithurian artifact hovered, protected by an energy field. The artifact was an ancient emblem of the Starborn Guardian, glowing faintly as if waiting for recognition. Aaron could cross quickly and grab it, but doing so without caution could trigger a trap. He studied the bridge. The structure's movements followed a subtle rhythm, almost imperceptible. Drawing on human intuition and experience with dynamic systems, he timed his steps with care, adjusting for each tremor and sway. Midway, a section tilted sharply and Aaron's armor sensors vibrated, alerting him to structural instability. He paused for a heartbeat, then shifted his weight, keeping balance. With a final, calculated step, he reached the artifact and touched it lightly. The energy field faded and a soft glow spread across the chamber. The observers murmured. Even the Zithurians who had doubted him seemed impressed. The next stage was more complex. Two simulated Zithurian warriors appeared, caught in a collapsing structure. Aaron could have rescued one easily, leaving the other, but he recalled the lesson of the previous day. Ingenuity could save both. Using his armor's built-in tools, he created a temporary support system and carefully freed both figures. The simulation ended with the chamber acknowledging his solution. As he progressed, the challenges became less physical and more mental. He was confronted with a series of symbols and devices that required lateral thinking. The solution was not obvious. Brute force would fail. Aaron observed carefully, noting subtle patterns embedded in the room's design. He realized the symbols represented elements of Zithuria's history, and arranging them chronologically opened a hidden passage. It was here that the trial took a surprising turn. A holographic figure appeared, depicting a rival noble who had attempted to undermine Aaron the previous day. The figure created obstacles meant to distract, confuse, and test his patience. Energy constructs formed traps in his path, and moving platforms shifted more unpredictably than before. Aaron paused and considered his options. The obvious solution would be to push through, reacting to each trap individually. But he noticed that the environment had patterns, repetition, symmetry, and subtle cues left by the designers. Using his analytical mind, he predicted the movement of the constructs and navigated through the obstacles with precision. His armor absorbed minor impacts, but it was his focus, creativity, and patience that allowed him to succeed. As he reached the next chamber, he encountered a moral dilemma. A group of holographic Zithurians appeared, caught between two paths. One path led to safety but bypassed a critical control panel that, if activated, could prevent the collapse of the entire structure. The other path was perilous, requiring him to expose himself to danger to save everyone. Aaron hesitated briefly, considering the risks. His human nature leaned toward collaboration, thinking beyond personal safety. He moved carefully, activating the control panel while guiding the holographic figures to safety. The simulation reacted immediately, acknowledging his choice. The system recognized not just the success of the action, but the intention behind it: courage, leadership, and consideration for the collective good. Queen Lysara watched silently from above, her expression unreadable. Yet there was a subtle acknowledgement in her eyes, as if she saw in Aaron the qualities of the Starborn Guardian herself. The final stage of the trial brought the greatest challenge. Aaron entered a chamber that simulated a battlefield, complete with shifting terrain, simulated adversaries, and obstacles designed to test quick thinking and adaptability. At the center stood a device resembling an ancient Zithurian artifact, pulsing with energy. Retrieving it would symbolize mastery over the trial, but the path was fraught with complexity. Aaron moved forward cautiously. He observed the constructs around him, noting their patterns and weaknesses. Using his armor's sensors, he mapped safe paths, but he also relied on instinct and creativity, placing tools and supports in unconventional ways to advance. The simulated adversaries reacted unpredictably, forcing him to adapt constantly. Halfway across the chamber, he realized the challenge was more than physical, it was symbolic. The Starborn Guardian legend was not about strength or even intelligence alone. It was about the capacity to see connections where others saw chaos, to act with honor even when the stakes were high, and to inspire others by example. Aaron adjusted his approach. Instead of focusing solely on reaching the artifact, he began assisting the simulated figures and constructs around him. His actions were measured, thoughtful, and collaborative. Slowly, the chamber responded to his decisions. Platforms stabilized, obstacles shifted aside, and the artifact's glow intensified. Finally, he reached the central device. As he touched it, a wave of light spread across the arena. The simulation ceased, and the chamber returned to stillness. Aaron stepped back, breathing heavily but feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. The Queen descended to meet him. "Captain Aaron," she said, her voice calm but filled with weight, "you have completed the trial of valor. Your actions demonstrate courage, intelligence, and compassion. You have not only faced the challenges presented, but you have exceeded expectations. You have shown what it means to be part of the Starborn Guardian's legacy. You have proven that even a human, a young species in the galaxy, can embody qualities we have long revered. Perhaps the prophecy was not about strength alone, but about perspective, innovation, and moral courage. You carry these traits in abundance." The trial had tested him in ways he had never imagined, pushing the limits of his mind, body, and judgment. He had relied on human ingenuity, problem-solving, and collaboration to succeed, not raw power. In doing so, he had earned the respect of a civilization far older and more advanced than his own. After the trial, Aaron and his crew were escorted to a quiet chamber. Leora approached him, her eyes wide with admiration. "Captain, you did it. You've proven humans are more than what they seem to older civilizations. They've seen that we are capable of thinking differently, solving problems in ways they cannot predict. That is the real power of humanity." But yes, humans do have a perspective that can surprise even the most experienced civilizations. "Perhaps we underestimated your species. Remember what you have learned here. Intelligence, courage, and collaboration are as vital as strength." Later that evening, as Aaron prepared to rest, he reflected on the trial. Each challenge had demanded something different: perception, ingenuity, ethical judgment, and courage. But the underlying lesson was clear. Humanity had a place in the galaxy not because of strength, but because of adaptability, intelligence, and the willingness to act with honor. The Queen's words echoed in his mind. "Your armor belongs to a legend." Now he understood more fully. The legend was not about a single hero, but about the values that hero embodied, values that humans, despite their short history among the stars, could demonstrate in their own way. As he looked out over Zithara's glowing city, Aaron knew that tomorrow would bring new trials, new alliances, and perhaps the first signs of external threats that would test humanity and Zithuria together. But for now, he allowed himself a moment of quiet triumph. He had faced the trial of valor and emerged with respect and recognition. He had shown that humanity's ingenuity and courage were worthy of legends. And somewhere in the shadows of the floating city, ancient records and holographic images stirred as if acknowledging a new chapter. The Starborn Guardian had returned, not as a myth from centuries past, but in the form of a human captain who carried the spirit of innovation, courage, and honor into a galaxy that was ready to recognize it. The morning air on Zithera was crisp and clear, yet a quiet tension had settled over the floating city. Captain Aaron awoke to the soft hum of the palace, aware that the trial of valor had been only the beginning. Queen Lysara had hinted that tests of courage and judgment would continue, but Aaron had not expected the first signs of real danger to arrive so soon. News came during breakfast. An alien fleet had been detected on the outskirts of Zithuria's borders. These were not explorers or traders. They were raiders, seeking to plunder Zithurian resources and intimidate the court. Reports described ships that moved with speed and precision, armed with technology designed to disable defenses quickly. The human crew studied the data, exchanging glances of concern and determination. "Captain," Leora said quietly, "this may be our first chance to demonstrate humanity's worth beyond diplomacy. We need to help, but we must do it strategically. Brute force alone won't succeed. This is not just about defense. It's about showing that humans can contribute meaningfully in the galaxy." Many Zithurian nobles had relied on their advanced technology for centuries, and the sudden arrival of a threat they had not anticipated had caught them off guard. Queen Lysara turned to Aaron. "Captain, your insight may be valuable. Humans have a different approach to problem-solving, one we have not encountered. Your experience in adapting to unpredictable conditions may give us an edge. This is a war of strategy as much as strength." Humans suggested creating holographic decoys of Zithurian ships to mislead the raiders, while Zithurians adapted their energy fields to create temporary safe zones for defenders. Together, they developed a plan that relied on agility, clever positioning, and timing rather than raw strength. When the raiders arrived, the skies above Zithera darkened with the silhouette of alien warships. Their engines glowed red, moving in patterns that suggested both experience and aggression. Aaron observed from the command platform, his sensors feeding data from multiple perspectives. He could see openings, weaknesses, and predictable patterns in the raiders' movements. "Deploy the decoys," he ordered. Immediately, holographic images of Zithurian ships appeared, moving independently to confuse the enemy fleet. The raiders targeted the decoys, wasting precious energy, while Aaron's combined forces maneuvered into advantageous positions. Energy barriers shifted in response to attacks, protecting the city's core structures. Aaron's armor alerted him to incoming threats, projectiles and energy pulses that could damage both human and Zithurian forces. He relayed instructions to adjust defenses dynamically, drawing on his experience in human simulations of unpredictable combat. Zithurian nobles who had doubted him now followed his guidance closely. Midway through the engagement, the raiders attempted a bold maneuver, a concentrated strike on the city's energy core. If successful, it could cripple defenses and destroy key infrastructure. Aaron calculated the risk. Instead of meeting the attack head-on, he devised a countermove, a channel of temporary energy barriers, guiding the raiders' ships into a trap zone where human and Zithurian forces could neutralize them efficiently. The plan worked. Several raiders were captured, others forced to retreat, and the city remained intact. Observers marveled at the humans' strategic thinking. Zithurian tactics had relied on predictability and power, but humans introduced creativity and adaptability into the battle. During the fight, Aaron noticed a leader among the raiders, a massive ship, heavily armed and moving with precision. Its commander displayed intelligence and adaptability similar to Aaron's own thinking. This was not a mindless assault. It was a calculated attack meant to test defenses. Aaron realized that defeating this leader required more than strategy. It required leadership and courage. He personally guided a team of human and Zithurian pilots to intercept the flagship. Using synchronized maneuvers and clever timing, they managed to outflank the raider, forcing it to retreat. As the alien fleet withdrew, the combined forces of humans and Zithurians cheered, though the victory was tempered by the realization that other threats could arrive at any time. Queen Lysara descended to the battlefield, her presence commanding respect and gratitude. "You have done more than defend our city," she said to Aaron. "You have shown what it means to be a leader, to act with intelligence, courage, and foresight. The prophecy did not speak of victory alone. It spoke of partnership, of unity between civilizations. You have proven that humans can honor that vision." Humanity seeks not only to survive, but to contribute, to learn, and to work alongside those who share the stars with us. If we can combine our strengths, the galaxy can be safer and more connected. Captain Aaron, you have earned our respect, and you have shown that legends can be renewed, not just remembered. Aaron continued to demonstrate human ingenuity, suggesting methods to integrate human tactics with Zethurian technology in ways that increased efficiency and safety. His armor, once a symbol of personal protection, had become a symbol of collaboration and unity. Velira, the noblewoman who had doubted him, approached Aaron one afternoon. "I must admit," she said, "I did not expect your people to contribute so meaningfully. Your decisions during the battle were precise, creative, and effective. I underestimated humanity. Together, we can achieve more than either of us could alone." Aaron realized that the battle had been more than a test of strategy. It had been a demonstration of what humanity could bring to a galaxy full of ancient civilizations. Despite the victory, Aaron remained vigilant. Intelligence reports suggested that the raider attack was only the first of many possible incursions. The galaxy was vast, and threats were constant. Yet he also saw opportunity. If humans could build trust, if they could demonstrate ingenuity, adaptability, and moral courage, they could carve a role in shaping the future of interstellar civilizations. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the crystalline lakes, Aaron walked the palace balcony with Queen Lysira. "You have proven more than your armor suggests," she said softly. "Your actions have changed the perception of humans. They are no longer strangers, they are part of our story. They are about the choices we make in the present and future. You, Captain Aaron, have made choices that honor the legacy of the Starborn Guardian, and in doing so, you have inspired both our people and yours." Yet he realized that the qualities humans brought, creativity, collaboration, and courage, were exactly what the galaxy needed. He had begun to understand that humanity's strength was not in dominance, but in its ability to adapt, to learn, and to act with honor. The following morning, the Queen called for a formal ceremony. Aaron and his crew were honored for their role in defending Zethuria. The citizens lined the streets, showing respect not only for the humans' actions, but for their ingenuity and moral courage. Banners depicting the human armor alongside the Starborn Guardian's image adorned the city. Aaron's armor, once simply a tool, had become a symbol of unity, courage, and the potential for partnership between civilizations. As celebrations continued, Aaron looked at Leora and the crew. "This is just the beginning," he said. "We've proven humanity can rise to challenges, but the galaxy is vast. There will be more tests, more threats, and more opportunities to show what we are capable of. Humanity has the chance to shape a story bigger than any one of us." Humanity had arrived on Zithra not merely as guests, but as partners, capable of inspiring hope and unity. His armor, once a personal shield, had become a symbol, a bridge between civilizations, a reminder that courage, intelligence, and honor could shine even in the most alien of worlds. As the celebrations continued into the night, the twin moons casting silver light across the city, Aaron knew the path ahead would be difficult. New challenges and external threats awaited. But for the first time, he understood the true meaning of being part of a legend, not to conquer, but to inspire, to collaborate, and to uphold values that could guide civilizations toward a brighter future. And in that quiet reflection, he realized that the prophecy was not about a single hero. It was about the choices that anyone, human or Zethurian, could make to rise above fear, act with wisdom, and shape a legacy that would endure across time. Humanity had begun its chapter, and Aaron was ready to lead the way. The morning air on Zithra was calm, yet the city remained vigilant. Captain Aaron knew that their success against the raider fleet had proven humans' ingenuity and courage, but he also understood that peace was fragile. The galaxy was vast, and new challenges would always arise. The Queen had summoned him and his crew to discuss the next steps, and Aaron sensed that this would not be a routine meeting. Queen Lysira greeted them in her private chamber, her robes flowing like liquid silk, reflecting the early light. "Captain Aaron," she said, "your actions during the recent threat have earned you and your people our respect. But the galaxy does not wait. There are forces beyond our borders, observing, testing, and seeking advantage. We must prepare, and your insight will be vital. Your Majesty, humanity seeks not only to protect, but to collaborate. If we can combine our knowledge, technology, and perspectives, we can create solutions that neither species could achieve alone. You, Captain, are that bridge." Solutions that would have taken months for one species alone were achieved in days through collaboration. One afternoon, as they reviewed intelligence reports, a new signal appeared from the outer systems. It was a fleet larger than the previous raiders, moving faster and with more coordinated attacks. Aaron studied the formation, noting weaknesses and predictable patterns. He realized that this threat would require more than strategy. It would require unity, morale, and the ability to inspire courage across species. He called a council of leaders, humans and Zethurians alike. "This fleet will test our defenses, but we are not powerless," he said. "We must act together, combining our strengths. Humans bring ingenuity, adaptability, and problem-solving. Zethurians bring experience, advanced technology, and discipline. Alone we may falter, but together we are formidable. You have earned this position, Captain. Lead wisely." Human tactical thinking introduced flexibility, while Zethurian firepower and shields held the line. The battle was intense. The alien fleet was relentless, attempting to break formations and exploit weaknesses. But Aaron's strategies were adaptive. Every new attack was met with a solution, every maneuver countered with creativity. Humans piloted alongside Zethurians, each learning from the other, and their collaboration became their greatest strength. Midway through the engagement, a massive alien ship attempted to breach the city's core defenses. Its weapons could have destroyed entire districts if unopposed. Aaron realized the threat required a bold move. Using a combination of human-devised tactics and Zethurian energy manipulation, he orchestrated a plan that lured the ship into a trap zone. Energy barriers confined it, and the combined forces disabled its engines, forcing it to retreat. The remaining fleet, witnessing the defeat of their leader, faltered and eventually withdrew. Zethurian and human forces cheered, though the victory was measured and mindful. Everyone knew the galaxy held countless other challenges. After the battle, Queen Lysara formally honored Aaron and his crew in a ceremony attended by citizens, nobles, and warriors. The streets were filled with celebrations, banners depicting the Starborn Guardian and Captain Aaron's armor flying side by side. The armor had become more than protection. It was a symbol of courage, ingenuity, and unity. The Queen approached Aaron personally, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You have proven that legends are not only in the past," she said. "They live in those who act with honor, courage, and intelligence. You, Captain, have renewed a legend and shown that humans can be more than observers. They can be leaders, allies, and partners. Your ingenuity, strategy, and courage inspire us. Together we can face any challenge." Knowledge was exchanged freely. Human innovations merged with Zethurian advancements, creating tools and strategies that neither civilization had imagined alone. Aaron spent time walking among the citizens, observing interactions and learning their culture more deeply. Children pointed to his armor with awe, asking questions about the Starborn Guardian and the humans who had helped save their city. Scholars sought discussions with the human crew, eager to understand the human approach to problem-solving and creativity. One evening, Aaron stood on the balcony of the palace, watching the twin moons reflect across the lakes. Queen Lysara joined him, her gaze serene. "You have given us more than defense," she said softly. "You have given hope. Legends are remembered for what they inspire, and you have inspired an entire civilization. Perhaps legends are not just about strength or fame, but about the choices we make and the ways we work together." New missions were planned: exploration of distant star systems, diplomatic exchanges, and cooperative scientific projects. Aaron and his crew continued to serve as bridges between the species, demonstrating that humanity's greatest strengths were ingenuity, creativity, and the courage to act with honor. The people of Zethuria began to see humans not as outsiders, but as participants in the unfolding story of their civilization. The Starborn Guardian, once a figure of legend, had found a new embodiment in Captain Aaron, not because of mythical power, but because of actions, intelligence, and moral courage that reflected the values the legend had always celebrated. One afternoon, as Aaron and Leora walked through a garden of crystalline plants, they observed young Zethurians practicing techniques inspired by both their own history and human strategies. "Look at them," Leora said, smiling. "They are learning from us, and we are learning from them. This is more than victory, it's a foundation for the future." Humans arrived as guests, but now we are part of something much larger. We've proven that even a species still learning to explore the stars can make a difference. Citizens, scholars, and leaders gathered to witness the acknowledgement of humanity's role. Queen Lysara spoke to the assembly. The legend of the Starborn Guardian has been renewed, not through myth alone, but through deeds, intelligence, and courage. Humans have shown us that potential is not measured by age or history alone, but by the choices we make and the courage we show. Captain Aaron and his crew have earned our respect and our alliance. As the celebration continued, Aaron stood quietly, observing the city below. The twin moons reflected across the lakes, casting silver light on floating platforms and crystalline towers. His armor hummed softly, a reminder of the journey that had brought him here and the legacy he now carried. Leora joined him. "Captain, what will you do next?" she asked. Aaron smiled faintly. "We continue. Humanity has much to learn, much to offer, and much to explore. Our story doesn't end here, it has only begun. But for now, we've proven that courage, intelligence, and honor can make a difference, even among the stars. Zithuria will not forget your deeds, nor the lessons humanity has brought." Through ingenuity, adaptability, and moral courage, they had proven themselves not only worthy of legend but capable of creating a new one. As the twin moons rose higher, casting silver light over Zithura, Aaron understood the truth. Legends were not static stories of the past. They were living, breathing possibilities, waiting to be renewed by those willing to act with courage, intelligence, and honor. Humanity had arrived, and their story had begun among the stars. For the first time, Captain Aaron felt that the armor he wore was more than protection. It was a symbol of potential, a bridge between civilizations, and a testament to what humans could achieve when they dared to rise above fear and act with courage. The city of Zithuria slept beneath the moons, peaceful and alive, while humans and Zithurians alike looked to the future with hope. And somewhere in the hearts of both species, the legend of the Starborn Guardian lived anew, not as myth, but as a living testament to the power of courage, intelligence, and unity. Humanity had arrived.